Let's go live to Wilson Asset Management Chair and Chief Investment Officer, Geoff Wilson. Geoff, what do you make of that explanation by the Treasurer?
Well, he didn't have to go into a big, long rant. He just should have said, yes, I can confirm that. Because he actually didn't answer the question properly. I mean, the fact is, with defined benefits, they actually don't have to pay any tax till they retire, where everyone else has been hit with this illogical, bad, or I think as Jerry Harvey said, stupidity of the highest order tax, has to pay tax on an annual basis. Like in a year's time, none of the politicians on the defined benefits are going to have to pay any tax on this, and it'll be adjusted, and they get the benefit of compounding over their life work, and there'll be some interest rate which will be less than the actual performance of their assets over that period of time. So it's not a level playing field. The Anthony Albanese and various other politicians that are in defined benefits will get a benefit. There are some state politicians which actually this won't impact at all, and judges. So unfortunately, it's just not a level playing field. That's besides the logic that the tax. There are significant consequences of this tax in terms of changed behaviour, and the government isn't going to raise anywhere near the amount of tax they think they will, because people will change their behaviour.
Would you like the coalition to negotiate to try and take the edges off this bill, or is it better for them to argue against it and try and win the political debate? Because at the moment it looks like the Greens will be the ones the government gets this through with.
Well, to me, I think everyone's getting caught up, and unfortunately, I think both Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers and probably most of the government are gaslighting the Australian people by saying, look, this will only impact on a very small percentage of people that pay the additional tax, and that's correct. But what it'll do is actually impact how $4.2 trillion in superannuation is invested. So to me, that's we anticipate that the money will come out of self-managed super funds, which is about 1.1 trillion, and billions of that will go into the housing market and push house prices up. It actually. People want to take risk on their superannuation in the self-managed super funds. So all that, the angel investors and the startups and the small companies in Australia, that find it hard to raise capital, particularly at this point in time, that's going to be, that tap's going to be turned off. In terms of whether the Liberals, from my perspective, is. If whoever, whether it's the Greens or the Libs, it doesn't actually overly concern me, or the coalition, if they can remove the tax on unrealised gains and increase and put in some type of indexing, so the younger Australians that this will will impact over time, don't get dealt the bad hand they're currently dealt.
Geoff, what do you say to the argument? And I think, it wasn't just the Treasurer, others in the government have made this argument in the last few days, since the election, certainly, that they're trying to get superannuation back to its primary purpose of providing for dignity in retirement as opposed to a wealth management mechanism.
I totally agree. I'm 100%. And unfortunately, this isn't the way to do it. I mean, Ken Henry came out with some great thoughts a number of years ago. Unfortunately, everyone knows that it is very beneficial for people who've got large sums in superannuation. They get a disproportionate benefit than the average Australian, and so things have to be changed. Unfortunately, not like this.
And so, just finally, Geoff, as we look to now the vote in the Parliament, as we said, the Greens likely going to be the numbers that get this through, and with the majority the government's got, just in pure, the brutal arithmetic of politics says that they're going to get it through. But you're saying fundamentally they won't get the dollars or the revenue that they think they will, because people are just going to adjust the investments accordingly.
Oh, 100%. The trillions of dollars that's in superannuation that is meant to be long-term investments that are happy to take back small companies and take high risks, that won't happen anymore. We've seen globally, Norway brought in a unrealised capital gains tax. They thought they were going to raise, it was only for the ultra wealthy. They thought they were going to raise 150 million. Instead of raising that, they were minus $500 million. The capital gains tax in the UK, that was brought in, and that thought, they were increasing the capital gains tax by about 20% over there. They actually ended up getting a 10% less tax, in the following year, which was last year. So, people change their behaviour, and the negative economic impact this will have. We've done. Using sort of economic models, we think it'll be negative to the tune of $94.5 billion on the Australian economy.
Geoff Wilson, great to get your thoughts. Thank you very much. Chief Investment Officer and Chairman at Wilson Asset Management, Geoff Wilson.